How are you feeling about this pregnancy today?
Me?
Yeah.
I still feel really good about it. I'm excited.
That's good.
I wish, and I'm sure you understand this more than anyone, I wish we could just cut to the part where there's a baby.
I feel like that TikTok sound. Hey, how y'all doing? Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Liza. I'm 40 and I was pregnant. I gave birth to my third baby about 6 months ago, and I had been vlogging and documenting my experience being pregnant in my 40s. And then I had the baby and all of a sudden had 3 kids and things got a little nuts. I kept meaning to make this video and talk about the birth experience and introduce you formally to the new baby who is currently sleeping, which is why I keep glancing down here at the baby monitor. But I don't think 3 kids is no joke, you guys. And then there was also a little bit where we didn't have childcare, and you know, newborn life is just insane. But a lot of that is sorted now, and I thought better late than never, maybe? So previously on this geriatric pregnancy, hello. We're on our way to a doctor's appointment. Maybe one of the last doctor's appointments. Oh, that microphone is just tapping up against that Easy Bass holder.
Oh yeah, that's no good.
No. Yeah. I can take it off there. Anyway. Yeah, maybe one of the last doctor's appointments. Hopefully. Maybe. How you feeling? It's been a while since we've caught up with old Mike. With old husband. With old almost third-time father.
I feel good. I'm excited. I want this baby to be born. I'm, as I'm sure you are most of all, sick of waiting. And I feel ready. And I'm just excited to meet her and say hello.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you feeling?
Much the same. Much the same. No, this is I'm 38 weeks today.
Yeah.
So, full term plus a week at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's time. It's
time.
It's getting a little ridiculous.
I know, it's getting a little silly now. We'll see how this appointment goes. It's with another new doctor that I've never met, because I joined that practice late and they're trying to get me in to meet all of the doctors, so it's just been a different doctor every single time. Even though if I get induced, the next appointment, so basically I have this appointment and then next week's appointment and then my induction date. So the next appointment is where we meet the doctor who is on call for my induction date. So if I go all the way to my induction date, then we'll have met the doctor that presumably will be delivering this baby.
And you know what? If we don't meet him, it's fine.
Her. Wow. That was really...
I said them. I meant them.
Oh, okay.
If we don't meet, apostrophe E-M.
Gotcha. Okay.
If we don't meet him, it's fine.
Okay.
You know, they come in for like 10 minutes anyway. If my memory serves.
That is what happened last time. And I am hoping for a very similar labor and delivery as last time.
Like, they're not... I love them, E-M.
They're very useful. Necessary, even.
Yes, I would say the doctors are useful and necessary, and I support them. Mm. But they're not the ones doing the heavy lifting in that room.
Who's doing the heavy lifting?
Well, you most of all. But then there's like nurses, and the nurses are kind of...
I hope we get good nurses.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of people say that like they really loved the nurses at the hospital we're delivering at. And then I saw on like a Facebook group one story about how someone had delivered 2 babies there and had great experiences, and then delivered 1 baby there where the nurses were bad and it was a terrible experience.
Okay. Well, that's one review. That sounds like someone had a bad day.
Yeah, well, no,
Nurse
totally.
Nurse or mother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I do remember that about like the nurse we had with Ella was not bad, but also like first baby, like she was sunny side up. I pushed for like 2.5 hours almost. And it was just like reached that point where I was like, this is impossible. This is not happening.
Yeah, you just kept saying I can't do it.
I can't do this. And she like yelled at me to kind of, which made me mad. I mean, like it worked. It made me mad.
Yeah, baby's here.
But
no, not the best. Not like she was, you know,
she was fine, but she just wasn't.
She was business. She was
but then
like,
our nurse was Sydney. Both the nurse who was like in delivery and then the nurse afterwards. You remember that?
With the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
The nurse who was there for the delivery was lovely, although she did ask me as she was helping me to the bathroom after my epidural had worn off. She was like, so are you going to try for a boy? And I was like, ma'am, did you not just see me push out a baby? Just now? I'm pretty sure you did. But she was perfectly sweet and very nice and very helpful. And then afterwards, the nurse that was on call, we were just talking, and you were talking about like what you do for work, and then we had mentioned that we had a podcast. And then she was like, oh, my son has a podcast about...
We didn't have the podcast at that point.
Oh, we didn't?
No, we were just talking about movies and stuff. And
oh, just kidding.
Podcast was a pandemic creation.
Oh, that's right. You're right. But anyway, she was saying her son had a podcast.
Do you smell that? Sorry, we're right next to the chicken place. It smells so good.
It does smell really good.
Sorry.
She mentioned, she's like, my son has a podcast about Philip Seymour Hoffman. And we were like, we are maybe Philip Seymour Hoffman's #1 fans, maybe besides your son, apparently. And then she was like, oh my God, like that, you know, like she like, you know, we exchanged information. We wound up going on this guy's podcast. Like, it was just so funny and cute. Like, her just being, like, super proud of her son. And it was a really fun podcast. I'll link it somewhere.
Yeah,
if you want to watch it. It was really, really fun.
We talked about the movie Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
And really, it was the best thing to come out of that delivery, I would say.
Yeah.
JK.
No, it was the baby.
It was the baby. But it was very funny and weird. And
yeah,
lovely.
and she was also just a lovely nurse. Like, just
she was great.
She was really
so
great.
And her son was great.
Yeah.
A great family.
Great. We're still Facebook friends. But anyway, we're here.
Yeah, we're going to go into the smallest parking garage of all time.
And see what's going on with this baby. I went in for that 38-week appointment, and basically the doctor said that not only was my blood pressure slightly elevated, as it has been this entire pregnancy and is every time I go into a doctor's office because of my white coat hypertension, but that's a story for later. But also, I was dilated to 4 centimeters. My induction was scheduled for, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks after that. But the doctor at the time said, you know what, I'm just going to send you in now to get induced now. So we're out of the doctor's appointment and they are sending us to the hospital.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, buddy.
Basically, I think I've said I have had like white coat hypertension this entire pregnancy, where I go into the office and my blood pressure is high. It was high today. And then also, I'm 4 centimeters dilated. And basically the doctor was like, you know, all of these things coming together, I feel like I'm just gonna send you to the hospital.
What's happening? You okay?
I am okay. I just am like, like, there's part of me that's like, well, I'm not ready, but like, I am.
We're so ready.
I just like,
you
was not, as I said, this was not on my bingo card for today.
No, not for today necessarily. Today I was like I have some like stuff I was gonna do in the attic.
Yeah.
You know, like just random, like, oh, I guess that to-do list isn't getting fully tackled today.
No.
That's okay. That's okay. This is great.
It's great.
These people are walking in the street. We love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did get the hospital bags packed.
You got them? Yeah. I mean, and there's so much to be grateful for. No, we're in good shape.
We're in pretty good shape. We gotta go home and sort some things out, including like childcare, and we have to figure out we have new cleaners coming today.
Yeah, they're coming today. That's funny.
And they'll need to get paid somehow. Oh, okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I just feel very like
Overwhelmed?
We
are in, I mean, this is like, there's so much that's good about right now. If we're gonna have to go to the hospital right now, we'll see. You know, there's like, we did this with Ella too, where we got sent to the hospital and then we had to come home.
Because of high blood pressure.
There you go.
But I also think I wasn't dilated.
Yeah, I mean, the doctor we just saw said, like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna stay.
Yeah.
But who knows what that means. And
with Ella, it was more like my blood pressure was slightly high, and I was so done that my doctor was like, you know what, we'll send you and, like, see what happens, and, you know.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm like, let's go. I was just saying, let's fucking go, bro.
Let's go.
Let's go. No, I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm excited. I hope I mean, it's going to be a little frustrating if we go to the hospital and get sent home.
Yeah.
But if this is time to go have the baby, I'm excited to go have the baby.
Yeah.
And but I'm not the one who's going to be passing it out of my urethra. So
that's not how it works.
Well, I know that's not how it works, but that's
it's not my urethra.
I know it's not your
not even slightly.
Urethra. But I understand that. I was just
if this is happening and she's born tomorrow, she'll share her birthday with Mila.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I don't know. There's still a lot of me that doesn't feel like it's real.
I also don't feel like it's real. I feel like we're in 50-50 mode.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, God. I keep, like, trying to get this more centered and failing. Yeah, 50-50 mode.
I feel like the rest of our day is fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope it's for a baby and not just for
hanging out at the hospital for funsies.
Right, exactly. But that's a minor concern.
Very minor concern. Oh, we have to remember to get the car seat.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of things.
So many things. Okay. Great. Well, we'll keep you updated, camera. So it was a little nuts. We were not expecting to have a baby that day, but we were able to go home and pick up the hospital bag that I had just packed. And we were also actually able to see Ella and let her know what was going on. She got home from school in time for us to say, hey, we're heading in. Your uncles are going to be here to take care of you. And, you know, when we see you next time, you're going to have a new baby sister. And she was so cute because she kind of just went like, okay, and got really quiet and was like, okay. And then she looked at me and she just goes, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And I was like, me too, girl. Me too. It's a lot. So that was really cute. She was very excited. So we went to the hospital, and just a heads up for this kind of section of this video, my birth experience was not amazing. Everyone is okay. Everyone is now happy and healthy, and I'm very grateful for that. But the experience was not a good one. If you're pregnant right now and you don't want to hear, you know, kind of a not so great labor and delivery story, please feel free to skip ahead over this part. I'll tell you where to skip to so you can still maybe say hello to the new baby, but you don't have to listen to this part of it. So I get to the hospital, I get all checked in, I'm given a gown, I'm told to give a urine sample. I do that, I bring it back, put it on a tray in the room, and sit down on the bed. They put a regular blood pressure cuff on me, a regular size blood pressure cuff to take my blood pressure. And I've said this before about how that is something that I've really had to advocate for, is getting them to use a larger blood pressure cuff, because when they don't do that, the reading they get is incorrect. It's much higher. And I also already have this issue with white coat hypertension. So it's very important that I ask for a larger blood pressure cuff when they are not already using one. And basically they took 2 measurements with the regular size blood pressure cuff before I was able to ask them to switch it out for a larger one. And my blood pressure was scarily high from those readings. It was very high. And they kind of set into motion the treatment for preeclampsia, which is what everybody's worried with high blood pressure. And when I tell you that they had a syringe in hand ready to inject me with medicine before I finally was able to get them to stop and explain to me what was going on. So right off the bat, it felt very much like I was not being listened to, which is not great. I finally get them to slow down and explain to me what's going on. And they kind of just kept saying, we're trying to prevent you from having a stroke. And I was like, no, samesies. I do not want to have a stroke right now. That would be really bad. So I said to them, are there any other indications that I have preeclampsia? Because we know that I consistently have the higher blood pressure readings because of this anxiousness, because of this white coat hypertension. We already know that. You were also using the wrong blood pressure cuff. So are there any other indications that I have preeclampsia? Because what I understood was that with preeclampsia, you're looking for at least 2 symptoms. Like high blood pressure in and of itself does not necessarily mean that you have preeclampsia, but you're looking for other indications: facial swelling, protein in your urine. And when I asked the resident if there were any other indications, she said, well, we've tested your urine and like, we want to prevent you from having a stroke. They just kept saying it. And I said to her, you haven't tested my urine. It's still sitting over there on the tray. So again, we've got starting off this whole day, night shenanigans with feeling like I'm not being listened to and also being lied to. In that moment, it felt very much like I did not have a choice. So I was like, okay, I guess let's move forward. If you think this is what's best, let's move forward. And what they do when you have preeclampsia, or what they did with me anyway, was they give you medication to drop your blood pressure really quickly. And then they also put you on a magnesium drip for the duration of your labor and delivery, and then for 24 hours after you deliver. The 24 hours after you deliver thing they didn't tell me about at the time. So that was a fun surprise about halfway through my labor. Because they put me on magnesium, I was not allowed to get out of bed. What they said to me was, it'll make you feel like you have a flu. You'll feel a little bit kind of woozy. You'll get hot. And when I was expressing concerns about that, and expressing concerns, I was just asking questions about it. The resident said, don't worry, you're still going to be able to have the birth experience that you want. Like, I've seen women who are on the magnesium and I don't even know they're on magnesium. Like, it's not that bad. So I said, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. They took me back then to the labor and delivery room, which was very nice. And because I was on the magnesium and I couldn't get out of bed, they had to put a catheter in, which I've had a catheter put in before, but every time I've had it put in before, I've already had an epidural. And I did not have an epidural this time. And that was not fun. 10 out of 10, do not recommend getting a catheter inserted if you're not numb from the waist down. And the nurse who was in labor and delivery when we first showed up was very gruff and very not kind of warm and friendly. And in fact, this was the first time that it felt like I was reacting to something painful in a way that would indicate it was painful, and was in turn, like, it just felt like I was being unreasonable. Like, the nurse just kept kind of saying like, oh, really? That hurts? And I just wanted to be like, yes, you're shoving a tube up my urethra. Yes, that is painful. I'm also in labor. Like, yes, that is painful. Like, what? I don't know. It just, that happened a lot throughout this labor and delivery. And that part was so concerning because, like, again, it links into all of this, like, not being heard, not being listened to, and feeling like I'm talking to a blank wall and talking to no one. No one's listening to me. Luckily, that nurse was switching shifts kind of right at that moment, so I didn't really have to deal with her anymore. They insert the catheter, they start the magnesium drip, they start Pitocin, and they also start hydration. Great. I don't know if the side effects of the magnesium vary from person to person, but what I felt while I was on the magnesium drip for my entire labor and delivery was not a flu-like symptoms. It was not something where you would not know that I was on this magnesium drip. I felt like I hallucinated through my labor and delivery. I was extremely weak, meaning I couldn't, like, use my hands to shift my body in the bed. I was not strong enough to lift my own body weight with my arms or my legs or anything like that, which is very disconcerting. It's rough to be going into something like labor and delivery feeling weak. And also, like, the thing about feeling hot. Oh my gosh, I've never felt anything like this before. It felt like my skin was on fire. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you're mildly uncomfortable. I was hot. After a few hours, I was progressing. I had, gone up to, I think, 5 or 6 centimeters since they started the Pitocin, but they wanted it to move a little bit faster, and they said they were going to break my water. And I said, that's great. We're not doing that until I have an epidural. Because I had heard that hurts, and I, having already gone through getting the catheter inserted without any medication, I was not interested in getting my water broken without an epidural. So they were like, great. And I got the epidural. And the thing about epidurals is that they can lower your blood pressure. So when they started the drip of the epidural, because it's a little catheter that actually goes into your spine, I believe. It's a catheter that goes into your spine and kind of continuously delivers the medication. When they started it, everything started to go very fuzzy. My vision started to tunnel in. It sounded like everyone was underwater, and I couldn't really speak because when you get an epidural, it can lower your blood pressure. My blood pressure was already lowered. So when they started the epidural, my blood pressure completely tanked. And I think in the end, it was just that I was about to pass out. But in the moment, I was terrified and having trouble asking for help. And I remember saying, I'm really scared. And then finally, Mike kind of said something and alerted the nurse, and they were like, oh, and they dialed back the epidural, and I came back, and it was okay, but it was a really terrifying moment. I truly felt like I was dying. Like, I was like, oh, something's really wrong. So that was not fun. I get the epidural, and it's all sorted out, and they break my water, and I progress very quickly. And the actual giving birth part was very easy. I progressed quickly after they broke my water. Like I said, I pushed, I think, twice, and she was out and I didn't tear. And it was a really beautiful, lovely moment. And the first, one of the first things Mike said to me was, "You're not pregnant anymore." And, you know, holding her on your chest, like that feeling is incredible. And it was so beautiful. And I was so happy and relieved and proud of myself and excited to be at the beginning of a new chapter. And it was beautiful. And she was healthy and she was good and she cried. And the nurse said she had a very pretty umbilical cord, which is a very funny thing. And yeah, so that part was great. And then after you give birth, they take off the epidural because you don't need it anymore. And I immediately knew something was wrong. Basically, it felt like I was in a lot of pain. My entire butt hurt, but I couldn't shift in a way that made it comfortable because I couldn't shift myself. I was so weak from the magnesium. And I mentioned this. I said I was in a lot of pain, and the nurses, you know, they're doing other things. They're trying to transfer you to another bed so they can transfer you to the post-delivery room. They're, you know, there's other stuff happening. And I finally am able to say to something like, hey, like this, I'm in a lot of pain. Something's going on here. Something's not right. And they take a look, and Mike said it looked like I had jumped out of a 2-story building and landed on my butt. My entire butt was bruised and purple, and there were blisters and cuts. And spoiler alert, they still don't know what happened, but it seemed as if I had been bedbound for months, as opposed to like a few hours. Everyone just kept saying, "I don't know what that is. That's so weird. I've never seen anything like it." The number of nurses and doctors who came in, and I was like, "You want to look at my butt?" And they're like, "Yeah." They had no idea. And the conclusion was that it was a pressure wound. So that was bad. And when I went to my GP, because I had my follow-up visit with my OBGYN, and I mentioned it, and she said, yeah, like sometimes it takes a while for a feeling to come back after an epidural. Like, I'm not concerned, but bring it up with your GP if you know, whatever. And I brought it up with the GP, and she basically said, you know, it's very possible that it was a mixture of the epidural and the magnesium, and, you know, it just caused a reaction or something. So that was not fun. They take me to the room where we're going to stay for a few nights. You stay at the hospital for a few nights after giving birth. And I gave birth in a pretty nice hospital. And the room that they put us in was very different from the room that they showed us on the tour, which I think is to be expected. Obviously, they show you they put their best foot forward. They show you the nicest room. But the room they put me in that I was supposed to stay in for at least 2 days postpartum didn't even have a shower. I think there was a shower head over the toilet in the small bathroom that was attached to the room, but there was no shower, which seems pretty basic. The room was kind of dirty. The bed was definitely old. Like, it was not a nice room at all. Anyway, I'm still on magnesium. I still have a catheter in. I'm still in bed and unable to get out of bed. And that was all very uncomfortable. The epidural's gone, so I can feel everything. I can feel the catheter, which again is it's uncomfortable. It's awful. I'm still weak. I'm still hot. I still feel very much out of it because of this magnesium. And they just, you have to have it for 24 hours afterwards. You have to. It made trying to breastfeed the baby nearly impossible. Breastfeeding was something that I really wanted to try again. I think I talked about that a little bit before. But I was not the most successful with my other 2 kiddos. So I went into it, very level-headed. But I also was feeling like now I'm much more informed about how to establish breastfeeding and establish those good habits to have more chances of success. And I was just unable to establish those habits with her in the hospital because I couldn't sit up. I couldn't sit up because I had a catheter in. I couldn't sit up because my butt hurt. I couldn't sit up because I couldn't get myself into a sitting position. So you can breastfeed a baby kind of like lying on your side and the baby lying next to you. But one, that's definitely considered a more kind of advanced position to breastfeed in. And two, the way that my breasts and nipples are shaped, it was not super conducive to feeding her lying down on my side. So I tried really hard, but it just didn't work. And that was really, really upsetting. Hello. Editing me breaking into this very long video. I had recorded a whole section about kind of the next part of my hospital postpartum experience. And I'd put a little trigger warning before it because it was probably the roughest part of my labor and delivery story. And I'm watching it back now. There I am. And it's not super coherent, and it's not, I don't know. I think maybe it's not something I'm ready to put on the internet yet. I think I was trying to push through it because I do think it is something that's maybe important to share. But I think I'm just not ready yet. So what I will say is that it did feel like a trauma right after giving birth, and it was scary. And I went to therapy as soon as I got discharged from the hospital and worked through it a little bit. And that definitely helped. And maybe I'll share it someday, but I think right now I'm just not ready. So sorry about that. Now we're going to get on to the fun part of the video. So don't give up yet. I'm not pregnant anymore. I am not giving birth anymore. I'm postpartum in that I will forever be postpartum, but I'm not immediately postpartum anymore. And she's great. She's wonderful. She is such a fun baby. It has been challenging and amazing in so many ways, going back after 7 years and kind of starting over and remembering all of these things. It kind of is like riding a bike. There's a lot that we remember and are used to, and a lot of things that like felt like they went faster or a little bit more easily because we had done it before. Ella and Sydney are in love, just like we are. Sydney, as I said, has been waiting for this baby her entire life and is just absolutely obsessed with her and constantly wants to hold her and be in her face, like to the point where we kind of have to say, okay, you have to give her, let her breathe, but she just loves her baby. And Ella is so wonderful. And, she's really hesitant to hold her at first, but she's just such a wonderful, wonderful big sister, which we already knew. But, again, she's such a wonderful big sister. She gave the baby her kind of most sticking nickname. Yeah, it's been great. And like I said, the newborn stage was tough, back on the no sleep, back on the figuring everything out, figuring out how this baby works and what they like and what they don't like. And, again, the sleep deprivation is rough, but we're through the very beginning of that anyway. And we have figured out some childcare right now at this point, which is wonderful. We have a new nanny and they're amazing and we love them. And I'm just starting to be able to get back into doing things. And so I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. I have always been pursuing acting. I mostly pursued theater, and then I started to look more into film and television. I write a little bit. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like. Am I just jumping right back in with auditions? What am I auditioning for? Do I pick up one of my writing projects and really go full force on that? Ooh, this is the part I remember too from my other 2 pregnancies of how do I pursue what I love and pursue a career without feeling like I'm missing out on all of the childhood. So I'm in the midst of figuring that out, which is also why I kind of picked this back up again. I don't know how consistent I'm going to be able to be. Like I said, 3 kids is no joke, but I think I would like to continue making videos. So we'll see. Oh, bless you. Bless you. All right, come here. Are you ready to say hello? Ready? Oh my goodness. This is Josephine. She is no longer a newborn, obviously, as you can see. She can sit up. She can almost crawl, but she hasn't quite figured it out yet. And I'm kind of convinced actually that she might, that she might walk before she crawls, because she doesn't seem super interested in crawling. Can you see? Look, Jojo. Ooh. Yeah, she loves to do that. She does little kind of like fake coughing sounds. She does that ooh sound, ooh. You say ooh. And she's a very happy baby, and we love her very much. Ooh, ah. Yeah. Yeah. And right now she's hungry, so I think we're gonna go feed her lunch. But official introduction of baby Josephine. Oh. I do want to say thank you so much for watching. Truly, still pretty wild to me that I have any subscribers, and especially subscribers who aren't my family and my friends, although love you guys. So just thank you for coming on this weird journey with me, of being 40 and pregnant, and now potentially being a new mom in my 40s. That's so weird. Okay, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll probably talk to you soon. You say ooh. Ooh. Say bye. Bye-bye.